In retrospect, I probably would have done things a little differently. Again, this is before the Russia mania. This is before they were building it up in the press. For me, this was opposition research. They had something, maybe concrete evidence to all the stories I'd been hearing about, but they were probably underreported for, years, not just during the campaign. So I think I wanted to hear it out. But really, it went nowhere, and it was apparent that that wasn't what the meeting was actually about.
All right, that was more of my exclusive interview last night with Donald Trump Jr. Earlier tonight, I spoke with the counsel to the president, Kellyanne Conway. All right, Kellyanne, welcome back. Good to see you.
Hi, Sean.
I know you watched the interview. What was your overall take? And I actually thought what was more important is we've got the Russian dossier. We have the former intelligence agent, his dossier, some of the information coming from Russia. And then, of course, you got the Ukrainian issue, real collusion with the DNC and Hillary Clinton's campaign. Then, of course, you got Obama trying to oust and actively working to oust Prime Minister Netanyahu, one of our closest allies in Israel. So if collusion matters, how come we haven't heard about Ukraine as much as we should?
Well, that's about a different candidate, the one who lost and who the media wanted to win and predicted would win. They neither expected nor wanted this election result. And the president is right when he points that out, that so much of this goes back to the election result and the fact that people are trying to bleach fit it and make it go away. Let's review a couple things. So you just mentioned the actual coordination and collusion between Ukrainian embassy officials and DNC officials. They actually used that information to try to hurt people on the Trump campaign. That's number one. Number two, Bill Clinton got a $500,000 in speaking fees from a Russian bank, was personally thanked by Putin for that. Number three, Hillary Clinton allowed 20% of our uranium reserve to go to a Russian firm whose investors gave money to the Clinton Foundation. The Clinton campaign chairman's brother lobbied against sanctions on Russia and failed to disclose it. So you're talking about actual evidence, not conjecture. My other impression of your interview is that how refreshing to have somebody take responsibility, be transparent and earnest, admit that maybe he would have done things differently. I think many people in last year's election should say that they would have done things differently. How about the people saying on Election Day, Hillary Clinton had a 92% chance of winning Michigan? Turns out she had a 0% chance. So many things to be done differently. The bottom line is, what came out of this 20-minute brief meeting? Nothing helpful, nothing meaningful, nothing consequential. If that weren't true, there would have been immediate follow-up. No follow-up whatsoever.
All right, but Alexandra Chalupa, the woman that was being paid by the DNC, and I'll go to the Politico article, the early part of this year, she shared her findings with officials from the DNC and the Clinton campaign. She went to the Ukrainian embassy, and they were disseminating false information on Donald Trump. As a matter of fact, they even take credit for helping to push out Paul Manafort at that particular point in the campaign. So there's real collusion. There's real phony stories they leak.
Real damage, too. That's my whole point. What are the damages here? You're specifying damages. If we were in a court of law, I don't think all these allegations would even muster a motion to dismiss, a motion for summary judgment. But certainly, I would ask you the question, what witnesses are you going to call? Where's your evidence, and what are your damages? What you just described with the Ukrainian embassy officials and the DNC, that's Alexandra person, there was damage. They tried to hurt people, and they did hurt people on the Trump campaign. So I'm glad you're raising that. No less of it than a New York Times reporter today tweeted about it, almost exactly what you're saying. Sarah Sanders mentioned it in her White House press briefing today. And this is important information. The biggest response I've heard from the media about that is, oh, but a different person won. You won, she lost. That does not erase the fact that people may have broken the law and that they colluded with foreign governments to try to damage people in the Trump campaign, which by extension would damage Mr. Trump at the time.
You know, it's also very interesting. I mean, and this was what I was trying to point out earlier in the program today, my opening monologue. I mean, Roland Scarborough, very well-renowned reporter, Washington Times, and he writes this piece today. Christopher Steele, he's the former British intel guy. He's the one that paid for a lot of the information that he got. This is where the Hooker Ritz story comes in, proven false, all of these things. But he actually says in his piece that Mr. Steele was paid by the Democratic-funded opposition research group Fusion GPS with money from a Hillary Clinton backer. So if they're getting information from Russia in that particular case, or you can even add to that the Uranium One deal, she signs off over $100 million kickback to the Clinton Foundation. there's something so fundamentally wrong here in terms of fundamental fairness in the media. And at some point, there seems that there's got to be more pushback, and that these stories have got to also penetrate the consciousness of the American people.
The pushback's coming from the American people. Have you seen the approval ratings of the media lately?
Yeah, that's true.
You're
right.
And the ratings on shows and networks, not yours, Sean. By the way, congratulations on your incredible ratings. I think people are looking for an alternative because in addition to there being sort of a myopic, lemming-like, ants on a sugar cube mentality on this story by many in the media, there's just this culture of sameness. Everybody sounds the same. Do you realize that the President of the United States sat with the President of Russia less than a week ago for 2 hours and 15 minutes, and yet we're talking about this and not that? Do you realize that you've got people in the media now, between their lower third chyrons and what comes out of their mouth, they talk more about Russia than America? And thank you for talking about America so often. Do you realize that, I mean, basically what come out of this 20-meeting brief, meaningless meeting, same amount of information that comes out of some of these panels where 6 people are nodding their head at each other and discussing the same thing, which is to say zero usable information. So I just want to review, in case you run out of time. This is how I see it so far. This is to help all the people at home. What's the conclusion? Collusion? No, we don't have that yet. I see illusion and delusion. So just so we're clear, everyone, 4 words. Conclusion, collusion, no. Illusion, delusion, yes. I just thought we'd have some fun with words. Sesame's Grover word of the day, perhaps, Sean, because you're absolutely right. To date, you know, they basically set out this Venus flytrap and thought one day we'll catch something 8 months later. And yet, we really appreciate the fact that, you know, we being the American people, I have to say, appreciate the fact that Don Jr. released those emails, appeared on your show for all to see. You know, compare that to the hiding and the furtiveness that we saw all during the last campaign by the other side.
I'm going to buy you a whiteboard. You're going to get a Rove whiteboard. All right, Kellyanne Conway from the White House tonight. Thank you for being with us.